one. Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It is your Cape Crusader, Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our returning guest, Edwin. Welcome back, my friend. How are you doing? And we are keeping it sexually seductive.
You already know, bro. Edwin here, back, keeping it geekly champion, defending the title.
I love it, man. I love it. And for everyone that is they're hearing that part, they're like, what is going on? The part of you singing that part is going to be edited out, so you guys missed a fantastic intro. Ichthus, I hear you loud, clear, and seductive. Thank you so much. Edwin, dude, what is up? How have you been? It's been quite some time since you've been on. About 80 episodes, man. How have you been since then?
80 episodes indeed, bro. It's been quite the journey for both of us, man. You've been growing, I've been growing. I'm having a blast. I know you are. And I just can't believe in like 3-4 months since our last one, you've already done 80. It's crazy.
Dude, you had a kid.
And I had a kid. Yeah.
You had a whole kid since we last chat.
Yeah, man. I got a wall of diapers over here. If you would look to my left, it's crazy.
Dude, it's like empowering too, because you have like a stack of diapers, and it's so weird because like previously, like you never would have thought about it, but like when you have a kid, you're like, this is money right here. Like this is luxury having this much. Because I'll tell you, the moment you run out of diapers and you're like, oh crap, like I need to run to the store right now, like that is a nightmare.
Yeah, no, thank God that baby shower, we got hooked up. I'm telling you, I got like cases of the stuff here.
Ichthus over on YouTube stopping to say congratulations, Edwin, as well. So
thank you.
How did your Kickstarter go? Give us the juice on that. You had Project We Love. Congratulations on that again.
Yeah, thank you. It was awesome. Even better than the first one. We funded in, I think, 2 weeks or so, maybe a little less. But yeah, we did 3,600, I believe. Beat the first one also.
So when was our interview? Like, was that like in the beginning, in the middle?
It was the beginning. I hadn't funded yet, but I was like close. I was like 3/4 maybe, somewhere around there.
So give me like a recap of how you felt that campaign. Were you sweaty at all? Like, was it nerve-wracking? You know, how did that campaign end up going for you, and how did you feel during it?
I mean, I think everyone, when you first start a Kickstarter, it's pretty nerve-wracking. You never know how it's going to go. But once we started getting going, like, you know, the first couple of days, I was like, hey, we're getting pretty far. Like, I can't remember exactly, but I think by day 3 or 4, we were already halfway. Not going to get cocky yet, but I was like, oh, this is 1,000 times better than the first one. You know, I can breathe a little easier, right? Because the first one we funded, like, I think it was the last 3 or 4 days, you know? But yeah, when you fund like halfway, you're like, hey, we're getting somewhere, you know? And I'm not going to say like I could breathe easily. I mean, I definitely could, but there was still work to be done, you know, to see how much you can make even once you're funded. You got to just keep going.
No, absolutely. And how did the fulfillment process go for you? Like, how was that for you?
I'm still on that. Digitally, I just sent out the comics to all the backers. Physically, I'm waiting for my proof to come in. And once that comes in, all those Kickstarter people, they already know how it's going to be, bagging and boarding the comics, sticking in those stickers and stuff, taking like 5 trips to the post office. I can't wait.
How many backers do you end up getting overall?
I think the exact number is 128. Don't know how many physical there are, but yeah, I think 128.
What was your first campaign like?
I think it was, I don't know the exact number, but I think it was 100, like about 100, somewhere around that number.
Cool. So you did about 30 more, and a lot of people say that second issue is the harder one because a lot of people, you know, they support your first one just because they're your friends and family. So that second one, you're truly earning that support, you know, because like they're not going to come around that second time. So what are some of the things you did to market this time around?
Yeah, and I was exactly going to say that. Like the first Kickstarter, like so much family and friends show up. For the second one, like half of that dropped off. You know, it's like, you already got your thing out there. But no, the second one, I kind of kept the same tactics, just stay in the indie community, support each other, always be promoting your work. And I'm a big firm believer of let the work show itself. I think people, when they see the art or when they've read the first book, they're like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, I definitely want to support the next one, you know?
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, you had someone on your creative team pass away during the process too.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, rest in peace to Diego. We dedicated the second issue to him, but like I was just mind blown when I heard the news. Like, you're literally working with someone, half the book is done, and then the last thing we spoke, like he was like, oh, I need 2 weeks to work on this because I'm working on something for Marvel. And I was like, okay, cool, I understand. Like a little bit before those 2 weeks were up, I get a message from Elton, my anchor, who also knows him. He told me the news and I was like mind blown, like devastated. I was like, wow, I can't believe that. Like, we were just talking, we've been working on this. just one of those things where, of course, it could always happen, but you don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, what did you guys do after that? I mean, because you had to keep the show going, unfortunately, right? You couldn't exactly take time to mourn. So, like, how'd you end up finding your next artist?
Yeah, I mean, it took a few days. Like, I didn't really know what to do. I was like, you know, the colors are so rich and visual. Like, you can't just go with anyone. Like, you can't just change the art style completely, in my opinion. So I was like, I got to find someone that's similar enough. Luckily, Elton, like, he knows a bunch of people. He actually recommended the new colorist. His name is Gabriel. Fun fact, Gabriel worked under Diego. So I was like, oh, wow, this is perfect. Like, he's already worked with him. He has a similar style. So, yeah, he fit in fine.
That was almost like a perfect tribute, too, right? Like, having the person underneath him, like, fulfilling the role that it...
Like, the apprentice steps up.
Yeah. Like, I mean, such an unfortunate and sad circumstance, but at least, you know... the way it worked out, it just seemed like it was meant to be, you know, having the person underneath them. Like, I didn't know that part, so that at least seems like, you know, it was a nice aspect to something that was rather unfortunate. How long did it end up pushing you back overall?
Not long at all. If anything, it kind of sped up the process, because again, I love Diego, rest in peace. He was so talented, but working with Marvel DC, you have to work with his schedule, you know, like, obviously they come first. So sometimes, you know, like I said earlier, he was like, give me 2 weeks before I can produce the next set of pages. Okay, I can work with that. But, you know, now with Gabriel, like, he doesn't have those ties. So he like this.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So with all that behind us, let's go ahead. Let's get a nice little recap of Hour Zero. So what is our first initial introduction to your comic book series?
The introduction as in like a synopsis, or like literally the first thing we see?
Well, just like our first like step into Lost Between Worlds Hour Zero, like what that issue's about, like as much as you want to spoil as possible.
Well, it's free, so let's spoil the whole thing, because if anything, you can just go read it right after this. Basically, it's about a Grim Reaper named Gwynn, who she's not the only Grim Reaper, but they have a job of collecting the souls of the dead, taking them to the afterlife so they can be judged and placed accordingly. But this one particular day, Gwynn is tasked with the mission of collecting someone who claims to be dissociative identity disorder. She's there to collect the soul of someone named Verda, but the dude says, like, hey, my name is Dospe. The guy you're looking for is not in control, so, like, you can't take my soul. I'm not the one who's fated to die. And she's like, huh, you trying to, like, cheat death here? You trying to find a loophole here? Like, I don't know really what to do with this. I've never had this situation come up. So she goes home and asks her dad, who's her boss, for, like, help on this. Like, how do I approach the situation? She hears about more than she asked for. She hears about an impending apocalypse. And that's pretty much where we leave off on issue 1. We begin right there from issue 2.
And issue 2 was such a good read. I was so excited to get a chance, you know, because I had the opportunity to read it earlier, but I always read it the day of, just so that way it's like still fresh in my mind and everything. And it just seemed like it was so insane. What was some of your influences for it? I mean, we're going to be diving into it after this, but like, you know, going into issue 2, like, what influences can we see?
Honestly, the influence for issue 2 is kind of like the overall influence of the whole series. I kind of got a lot of influences from mythologies, different sources. So a big thing that we'll talk about is Ragnarok. We hear that that's kind of like what the apocalypse is going to be, and that stems from Norse mythology. So I would say, if anything, Norse mythology and the Aztec mythology is what really plays in on issue 2.
And it's different than the Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok is basically like the reset of Asgard, and the Ragnarok in this series is the reset of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
So what went into that, though? I mean, resetting the whole entire world, and like, I don't know if you want to talk about what else we see happening, but we get introduced to a rather like vicious outbreak that happens, and it really starts turning the pace fast. I mean, that was a really interesting thing to kind of have happen in issue 2, because like we didn't have any trace of that in issue 1.
Yeah, see, like this might have been the wrong approach, but I kind of approached it. I feel like this is just good storytelling, really, if anything. You got to set up the world, set up the concept, set up the characters, like get people really hooked, right? So that's what the first issue is. Where I say maybe it might have been the wrong way to go about it is because obviously there's months in between the issues, right? So for me, it was like issue 1 is the setup. Issue 2 is now where the meat and potatoes of the story lies. Like, this is what it's really about, you know? So I could see how some readers might read the first one and be like, okay, that was kind of cool, but like, what is this really about, you know? So that's where the second one comes into play. And yeah, we went hard with the whole zombies.
Yeah,
we'll
was
talk
like
about it, Ragnarok and stuff.
It was like you up at base and just hit a home run with. I'm like, wow, this like got intense, like 0 to 60 quick.
Yeah, you know, like I said, we're hitting the meat and potatoes of things.
And Gwynn,
so yeah,
she's like just one bad lad. I was gonna cuss, but I was like, you know, we'll keep it family friendly this time. We both got kids listening on this. We'll keep it family friendly. So she's one bad bam.
One bad mama jamma.
Yes. And she's taking heads off left and right. I mean, we got to see her a little in action previously, but it wasn't anything of this graphic nature. She's like, their heads are rolling.
It's funny you say that because yeah, that's a song in one of the characters' playlists. But yeah, no, she's all about it, bro. The way I view her is like I'm not gonna say she's like a violent character, but like, yo, let's get the job done, you know. So she's all about it.
So, what are you hoping readers are feeling when they read issue 2 compared to issue 1?
I kind of want them to, you know, enjoy the action, of course, but I want them to really like get into the headspace of what the situation is. I always view things from like the character's mindset, so I really hope people put themselves in a character's mindset, you know, see why people do this, say that, see why the story's flowing this way. But really it's all about like just understanding like the core concepts of what Lost Between Worlds is going to be. So
when you were scripting out issue 2 compared to issue 1, what did you do anything like differently? Like, did you learn, you know, when you did the script for issue 1, did you learn anything differently from that and take that experience to make issue 2 different?
I would say it wasn't necessarily in the process of writing, but maybe just some like feedback. Most of the feedback was really good. One particular piece of feedback I got was, and I don't necessarily agree with it because it just kind of falls in line with the characters, was that all the characters speak too politely. Like everyone sounds the same, I guess is what they were trying to say. I feel like that's going to change as more characters get introduced. But, you know, I'm trying to, like, the characters are not entirely regal, but they're well-mannered, you know. They're not like your average guy who's just cursing, you know, whatever. Yeah. Like, they're professional. So that's why they speak politely and stuff. But things like that, just little feedbacks here and there.
So what type of different personalities and dialogue can we expect?
So, for example, issue 2, we get Miklon, who is the king of the underworld. When you first see him, you think he's like a scary dude. Like, I've gotten that feedback a lot, like, oh, that guy looks scary. But then when you actually read the issue, you find out like, oh, he's just like a big lovable oaf, as long as you're on his good side, you know? So that's a bit different. We also have his wife, Mcdeka. She, I kind of like, in a funny way, imagine her as like a day drinker, you know? She's just always drinking out in the sun. But the reason why she's like that is though, because her real, like what she's based on, she's in charge of partying. Like she's the goddess of the Day of the Dead festivals and stuff.
I gotcha.
That's really what she is. She loves to party. So yeah, I kind of, you know, for a kind of humorous character, portrayed her that way. And then issue 3, we're going to go even more different with the kids. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, the kids will be the whole other beast. Okay.
All right. So I enough talking about it. Let's go ahead. Let's pull up hour 1 and take a more in-depth look. I had a chance to read it, so it'll be cool to kind of get my opinion mixed with what you like intended, you know. I love doing that with the creator.
Yeah, like that cover right there. It's an amazing cover. But I remember at a con when I was selling prints of it, someone was like, oh, that looks so cool and yet so scary. Like, I don't know if I want to read it.
So what do you do to combat that?
I just told him like, well, you know, the looks is definitely scary, but I told him straight up like, nah, he's just a lovable oaf, you know. Can't judge a book by its cover, and literally and figuratively.
All right, so we are good. I wanted to make sure it was all like properly stretched out. So we are looking at Lost Between Worlds, hour 1. So what are we seeing on the cover right here? You know, this is a pretty intimidating looking dude.
Yeah, that's Miklon. Something I like to do with my covers is I like to like kind of capture something that you don't see in the book, but you can like tell that would be something that would happen in their life. Like this one's kind of simple, you know, he's just sitting at his throne. But for example, the alternate cover is him like dancing with his wife in a ballroom. It doesn't happen in the story, but like once you read the issue, you can kind of tell like these are the kind of characters that are just deeply in love with each other. They love to dance and party. So I like snapshotting things like that.
Yeah, and I love just like, behind him is a whole wall of skulls. The glowing eye. Yeah, he is a very formidable looking dude. So right here is the credit to the creative team. So you want to go ahead and give a shout out to everyone involved?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, keeping the Geekly champion, Edwin, writer and creative, Lost Between Worlds. I've already talked enough about myself, so we'll skip me. We got Elton. Elton's amazing. Elton helps me design the characters. He helps me ink the comic. I, of course, tell him like how I want the panels to look, but you know how the writer and artist collaboration is. Sometimes he'll come up with his own idea or like tweak it, and hey, we meet down in the middle sometimes. We got the Q Method, who provided the cover. He doesn't have a Twitter, but he has an Instagram. Does amazing work, if you can't tell by that cover. Mac, he didn't really return for this issue, but you got to give him credit for helping me design Gwynn and stuff. I think I'm just going to throw him in there for every book. Reed is the letterer. Reed is, again, another big help.
Yeah, he is everywhere.
Yeah, that guy's another hard worker. Like, I don't even know how sometimes he has the time to work on my stuff. But yeah, Reed's amazing. And then on colors, we got Diego and Gabriel. Again, RIP Diego. We dedicated the issue to him. And Gabriel, thank you for stepping up, joining the team. And Irma's kind of like Mac also. She helped me design the Banshee, so I'm always going to, throw her a bone in the books too for credits.
And then here's a little recap. So Gwynn is one of many Reapers tasked with the job of collecting souls of the dead on a daily basis. One day she gets tasked with someone who claims to have dissociative identity disorder, and when faced with the dilemma, should she take a soul or not based on which persona is in control, she decides to go home and ask her father for some advice. Given more info than she came for, she hears about some kind of impending apocalypse that the Reapers will have to deal with, as if she didn't already have enough on her plate. Look, I'm starting to get that reading voice down too. Look at me go.
Gonna be doing audiobooks soon.
Soon. So issue 2, hour 1 is dedicated to Diego, who sadly passed away while working on this issue. It's also dedicated to your daughter too. So congratulations once again.
Yeah, thank you. I can't wait till like she's older and she reads that, and who knows, Lost Between Worlds might be the series that built our house one day.
Yeah, that would be so cool. That would be awesome. So we start this issue action-packed. So Gwynn comes in and there's just blood and disarray and mayhem everywhere. At first, when I read this, I thought our man Dospe, did I say that right?
Dospe, yeah.
Dospe? I thought he like slaughtered him. I was left with that impression.
You're not the only one. Someone else told me the same thing. They were like, "Oh, I knew I had something like against that Dospe guy. He seemed suspicious," and yeah.
And then we see her. She's trying to collect souls, but she finds out that she can't. So that's a really interesting thing that we noticed right off the rip. So what was some of your inspiration for starting off this like grotesque?
So again, like if I can, I want to try and start like right away from the end of the last one, because again, these are supposed to take place in an hour. So the very last shot of, well, not counting the shot of her dad, is her, naming her scythe, and the smoke is swirling around her like she's about to warp back on Earth, right? So panel 1, here we go. She's back on Earth, back at the bar, and she's like, what the hell happened here? And yeah, I just wanted to like kind of put the viewer in the same state of mind, like, whoa, she just came back to all this. What just happened? And then, she's noticing the gall is not working. So she's kind of chaotic and frenetic at first.
Well, I mean, because even issue 1, it was not even this close to being this bloody. So it seems like it was two different, like opposites almost.
Yeah, again, I just wanted to hit the reader hard. But I will say it kind of caused a slight problem, because as I sold the first issue, besides like, I think one cuss word, I was able to somewhat sell it to parents who not necessarily asked me if it was okay for their kids to read it, but the kid wanted it, and the parents were like, oh yeah, sure, you can have it. I was thinking to myself, is it appropriate? I mean, it only has a cuss word. Kids hear that crap all the time. Yeah. But now when we're starting to get gorier, I'm like, I don't know if I can get away with it anymore. Yeah,
this is definitely maybe like 13, 14. Exactly. I don't know. I read some pretty messed up stuff when I was a kid, so I don't know. I'm not the best.
I've been watching like horror since I was 5 or 6, so I'm not the best either. But now being a dad, you want to try and set the example. But I will say, like, I would say teen is good. Like, I'm not trying to have nudity or anything like that, but there's some gore.
So we see that she's wondering where Dospe is as well. So she pulls out. This is her tracker, right?
Yeah, her Banshee.
So can you give us a little explanation what the Banshee is again? Like what we can expect from this device?
So the Banshee is like a multi-tool for Grim Reapers. The look of it's somewhat inspired by the Dragon Ball radar, but it's also supposed to just resemble kind of like a pocket watch or a compass. But it also has like ties and inspiration to Bleach. If anyone's watched Bleach, you know how they'll pull out their phone and that lets them know where like the hollows are and stuff. So it's just kind of inspired by that. Like the Banshee's supposed to shriek like a banshee when she has a mission, and then it lets you know who your target is. That's how she warps from place to place. So very functional tool.
And right off the rip, she's quick to say, whoever did that to the poor guy outside better not laid a finger on my target. So she's more interested in like getting this dude's soul than him even like surviving this.
Yeah, she's professional. She's got a job to get done.
We scroll down and notice that he's like barricaded the door, and she acknowledges, does he really think a simple lock can keep me out? And of course not, because she has all these weapons at her disposal, including this huge scythe.
Yeah. If you notice how like she summons it with like a puff of smoke or whatever, total Kingdom Hearts inspiration there.
Yeah, I like that too. That is really awesome. So we see that she finds him, and he's hiding in the closet. And this was some really I thought those was some really interesting dialogue between the two. You know what I mean? Like him flipping out armed with a knife, like that wasn't me, and the shrieking right here. So what was some of your direction and inspiration for this scene in particular?
For their whole dynamic in general, I kind of want them to kind of have like a frenemies dynamic in a way where they're not friends, but they know they sort of are in this in a way together. We'll dive into that more, but yeah, they kind of have that like teasing each other, poking and prodding.
Yeah.
You know I'm gonna take your soul by the end of this, right? Like that kind of weird friendship relationship. Yeah.
Man, I don't know what type of friends you had growing up, but I don't think I've ever had one who's like, I'm gonna take me your soul, man.
I will say I didn't have those kinds of friends, but I did grow up in like the Jackass era, so yeah, my friends were pretty douchebaggy.
That was so fun though, like jumping off the roof with your friends into some bushes just so you can get it on tape. Like I remember those days.
Dude, I got plenty of stories that one day I'll just, maybe for like my 2,000 follower special or something, I have crazy stories enough that like I feel like I could make one day like one of those comedy frat boy college movies. Like it's ridiculous.
So right here is another interesting scene too. We see Gwen pulling out her scythe. This was really interesting too, because we see it happen again. The way she pulls it out of the air like that. So you said inspiration was from Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, because with an outfit like that, like you can't strap that anywhere, and I don't want her to like always be carrying it. So I kind of MacGuffined it, and I used the Kingdom Hearts inspiration where she can just summon it. But I mean, the Banshee already teleports her, so yeah, like the technology or the magic, whatever you want to call it, is there already.
So yeah, she's I think I found the culprit. The question is, what is it? So she doesn't know that it's a zombie. Like, is this her first introduction to zombies?
Yeah, Grim Reapers, their job is to collect souls of the dead, but they're dead. They've never faced the undead. Like, this is new to them.
So what is this zombie? Is it capable of causing others to turn into zombies? Like, what can we expect from these creatures?
See, I want to be different. I don't want to be... Again, zombies are sort of, if anything... not the main focus. They're definitely going to be an enemy, but they're not the main focus. So I want them to be a threat, but I don't want to go the whole like zombie plague, like they're spreading more. If anything, they're just eating people and they're just dying. But we don't know what's happening to their souls, as we'll find out later in the issue.
And this is where she starts beheading people left and right. I love it too. The expression on his face when it gets chopped off is just great. So yeah, right here, is this what you're referring to? Are the dead rising? So was this a Dead Rising reference?
No, but I will say, not to retract my statement, again, it's not really a plague, but as I've mentioned, they don't know what's happening with the souls. But for some reason, bodies are rising, but it's not a plague. But yeah, not really a reference in anything there.
So we noticed that our other sidekick over here is starting to get overran, and Gwen is just she is a bad mama jamma. What did you call it earlier?
Bad Mama Jamma, yeah, I don't know. I heard that somewhere. It's like one of those old ass things.
Yeah, I felt insane. I was like, are we in the 70s right now?
Hey, you said we're keeping it family friendly, right?
So yeah, this is, they start getting, so where did these guys come from? Isn't this bar like supposed to be like the in-between?
No, the bar is actually on Earth. And
okay,
all
yes,
that's right.
That's right.
Yeah. Those are all backer cameos. Most of them were from Friends, but not all of them. And then, yeah, there's going to be even more cameos in the next issue.
So that's awesome. So these are people who got that tier to star into the comic?
Yep.
Awesome.
My friend who gets his head like exploded over there, he loves it. He was like, awesome.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's why I was like, yo, the cameo tier, man, you don't get to just become a zombie. You also get to like get destroyed by Gwynn.
Mm-hmm.
So it's big perk.
I love this too, like 3 at once, the way she swoops him up and beheads him in one fell swoop. And then we see the other end of the scythe is pretty interesting too. This almost seems like a Scorpion tribute.
Yeah, it's a kunai with chain basically. I don't want to get super ridiculous with powers, but I do want to make all the Grim Reapers, because there's going to be more. I want all their scythes to be unique. So hers has the kunai and chain at the end. I don't want to spoil other people's. I guess actually I can spoil one character because it's in her design. But if you look at Sienna's character design, her scythe has like a string like at the bottom end because it's also a bow.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
And then so after she like dismembers all these people, I ask you again what happened while I was gone, and then we kind of get the breakdown of what happened. That he was using the bathroom, everything was cool. And then these guys just come out of nowhere and just start attacking the bartender. The waitress. Yeah, the waitress tries to help. He, of course, runs to get weapons, he says, but then hides in the closet. I thought that was a nice touch for his character. I was like, man, my man is like, he's just out to save himself at this point.
I mean, when you're facing zombies and then this chick who wants to take your soul, like, I kind of feel for him.
Yeah.
Like, he's backed up into a corner.
Yeah, and then right here, you still have one on the waiting list. And she's like, oh, so you finally admit that you're a liar. And then we find out right here another part of interesting exposition that he's able like to kind of stay in control, and that he's been doing this for a year, for the past few years. So it's not like this is something that he just is able to overcome in like an hour. This is something she might have to wait for a long time.
Yeah, so again, I haven't really answered fans or readers if he is lying or not, but if he's telling the truth, then supposedly he's been in control for years. So like, what's up with the other personality?
Yeah, and if he's in control, isn't that that strikes an interesting question in itself, because then at any point he could just switch, he could just let the other person in control, and then does that make him lying at that point too? That's interesting.
Yeah, also if he is telling the truth, like you just said, he might just be keeping the other persona down for some reason we don't know.
So right here, she's just letting him know like, this soul's mine, but I need to leave for another 5 minutes. So this is where we kind of get another interesting part of the story, and things like, so issue 1, like you said, was a nice little world builder and a nice setting the tone, but this just it's like once the roller coaster issue 1 was the roller coaster going up to the hill, and then issue 2 was a roller coaster just violently going down the whole entire time. Like, it is insane, this entire issue, because this was just like the tip of the iceberg. Like, this is like not even the worst that it gets, because we find out something far more worse is going to happen here soon.
I like that analogy, because I was going to say, if issue 2 is the roller coaster just going down, then issue 3 is going to be the loop-de-loop. Should I stay or should I go? I love that little that little line thrown in right here too. Yeah, again, I think I mentioned this in the first episode. I'm a big fan of like Easter eggs and just whatever little things fans can find. So me personally, I wanted to throw one in every issue, a song title. I will see if someone can one day, once the whole series is done, name them all. But yeah, every issue is going to have some song title thrown in there.
So what was the song title in the first issue?
Hard Day's Night by Beatles. Gwynn says it to Dospe when they're talking about like, oh, so how's your day? I forget the exact line, but they're talking about how her day's been, and she's like, oh, it's been a hard day. And I think Dospe is the one actually who answers her, Hard Day's Night collecting souls, and she's like, yup.
Yeah, there you go. So that's gonna be cool to see that little playlist start to get formed. So we see Gwynn. What is this area we're looking at right here?
So if you go back to the first issue, when she drops off the band, like the very last shot, you see like in the distance, like a gate. That's her up close to the gate. And so now we're seeing where technically the souls would go once they're past that gate.
So is this supposed to be like overfilled with souls right now?
Normally, yes. But like I said, she's going to find out that something's been happening with these souls. But normally all the souls would be going in there.
And then we're introduced to King Yama as well. So who's this? Who's King Yama?
He's like the secretary of the afterlife, influenced kind of by like DBZ. But he basically is the one who tells you like, hey, you're going to Nirvana, you're going to Miquelon and all this. So yeah, he just guides the souls normally.
And then right here, he calls her out for having a weird hobby of people watching. I mean, people watching is an interesting hobby because people themselves are interesting creatures, right? The way like we interact as like humans in a society is like really insane at some points.
Yeah, and just seeing how like everyone's so different and what abilities and talents people have. That's kind of what Gwynn is interested in. Tells her like she's a lover of arts in a way. So she's like, yeah, humans, they have so many interesting things that they call art, like music and art and painting and things like that. She's very intrigued by it.
And then we see music too, the infernal racket.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I might make a reference here and there, but I also just want to, on a meta level, be like, Gwynn's such a fan of music that, like, behind the scenes, she's probably shown her, like, friends and all this music that, you know, that's why, like, he's like, oh, that crap you showed me, I hate it. Where, you know, some others might enjoy it.
And then we find out that she's going to be sent to Nirvana to check things out too.
He asks, he's like, is that where you're going? And she's like, yeah, right, that uppity bunch? Nah, not for me.
So what is this elevator? It almost gave me like the Bifrost feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of the intention a little bit. I guess what I wanted was a bit too much. I wanted it kind of to be like streaks of light, you know, but I guess that's more for like a movie and animation. So we kind of agreed upon the like swirls, you know, on the elevator, and yeah.
So is this elevator able to go to anywhere or just certain places in particular?
If you go back like one page where you see the whole building, you'll notice there's two towers. Yeah, that page right there, the two towers. There's supposed to be an elevator for each. I don't think you can see the two elevators, but there's supposed to be one for each.
Okay.
And funny enough, I didn't want to like, you know, make the underworld one down. Like, why does it have to be down? So I chose purposely to have them both up because, you know, in real world, when you think of the underworld, you think of like an evil place. And I'm not saying that the underworld here is like all smiles and stuff, but I just don't want to paint it as like an evil place. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
So it sounds like the hell over here has like a union. Okay, like
it's like a yin and yang. I want to try and have like a balance. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I got you. Hey, let me die on this planet, please. Seems like it'd be a little bit nicer to die.
Well, as long as you're doing your work, because that's the thing, though. If you're going to Miquelon, like, yeah, there's a party vibe there, but you're still working your ass off. There's still penance. I will say
I'm getting
that.
some Aztec vibes to this.
Yeah, exactly. That's the Aztec world. Miquelon and Mixteca, they're inspired by that. So I wanted to make the underworld Miquelon, you know, all Aztec-y.
And we notice that it's pretty empty here too. Are all these steps necessary? It does seem like a lot of these buildings always had such a huge amount of, you know, stairs to get up to the top.
Yeah, I always found that funny. Like, I guess for the visual it's nice, but like, you know, that Rocky climbing up the steps, this is ridiculous.
And I love right here saying that they're busy, and she's like, busy with what? And then it's like, oh, drinking.
Yeah, like there's no souls here. What are you doing? I love the design on that umbrella. Like, yeah, they did really well on that.
Yes. So what was some of the inspirations for this character design?
Just all Aztec stuff. I looked up a bunch of different visuals of Miquelon and Mixteca, and I just kind of mixed and matched things that I like, and I told Elton what I wanted, and he just came up with his version. Most of the time, honestly, he nails them all usually in one shot. Like, if anything, I might tell him to edit one or two things, but with Micteca, he got it all in one shot. Like,
That's awesome.
originally, he painted her a bit pinkish, and that was the only thing I told him. I was like, nah, make her more like natural colored, and he got it.
So what are we seeing here in the dialogue? We're seeing a lot of it's a lot of conversation between these two. So what are these two beginning to talk about in these panels?
She's basically kind of starting to ask questions like, yo, what's going on here? But Micteca, she's not the one on the business side. That's her husband. So she's kind of just telling him like, or telling her that I've just been sitting here drinking. Like, there's not really much to do. My husband's been in there doing work. You should go ask him. So basically that's what they're talking about. Gwynn kind of warns her like, yo, maybe don't drink so much because I don't really know what's going on. Like, things might go down here, so you might want to be on your toes. And that's when she kind of like for a second gets serious, and she's like, maybe I'll get things ready for when everyone returns and the mission's done. And yeah, she has that one final line to her guard.
And then so we see Gwynn meet the other half of the duo. So it's interesting that we have him in a library. What was the reasoning to put him surrounded by books?
So as we'll find out, he's been kind of researching into like what's been going on. We're literally going to find out about a certain book. So that's what he's doing in the library. Like, he knew this book would have some answers he was seeking.
And right here we see that it's been so long that since they've last seen each other. And we see these two catching up there. It seems like these two are a lot more friendlier than the other two.
Yeah, kind of wanted to give off the vibe that they've known each other. To what extent, we don't know yet. But let's just say down the road, there's going to be a big flashback thing.
So we see that he's giving her a book as well, too. What is this book about?
It's called the Midrash. I believe I reference it in the actual dialogue. But again, inspired by an actual thing in religion and all that. It's supposed to signify or explain to them like all of Ragnarok. He even mentions like, oh, your father's never shown you this? Like, this is a pretty important book. It has like a lot of history in here.
And then right here, the talk of Ragnarok, and she has no idea what it is either. So right here, it's explained Ragnarok's a complete reset of the world, and everything and everyone you know would be gone in an instant to start all over again.
Yeah, to explain it a bit, they basically, in this world, Ragnarok, and actually someone inspired by the real story of Ragnarok. In the real story of Ragnarok, essentially a bunch of gods end up fighting each other, and that's what kind of causes Ragnarok. I kind of not dumbed it down, but boiled it down to just two supreme gods. There's one for like Nirvana and one for Miklon. They have names, but they go unnamed here. Basically says that Ragnarok is actually caused from these two gods facing each other. They're in their respective domains for a reason. If they were ever to face each other, you don't want that to happen.
Yeah. So what causes them to face each other?
Once they start realizing that there's no more souls entering their domains, like they're gonna eventually realize like what's happening here. Where are like all these subjects of ours and stuff? So they're gonna come looking for answers. And again, the world does not want that.
So is it ever explained like what causes the zombie outbreak, or is that something that just happens?
It's down the road. But again, I will say I'm not explaining the how, but the why. Okay. Or rather, maybe I'm not explaining the why, but the how is basically, like I said, since the souls are leaving the dead bodies, or rather, I'm sorry, since the souls of the people who are dying are not being taken to the afterlife, for whatever reason, the undead are being awakened. I can't say more than that, but yeah.
No, I gotcha. So right here, we this is where we get interesting dialogue too, and the name of the series too. So she has two questions. What are the Supreme One's purpose, and how long do they have until Ragnarok? And we find out that Ragnarok is going to happen in 24 hours. So I was like, wow, you know, your idea for the hour 24, you know, that's where it sprung. I loved how it was kind of, you know, we talked about it when we first chatted, but it was officially revealed in issue 2. That was really cool.
Yeah, issue 2, like I said, is the issue of big reveals, and when we start getting some action. Because again, the first one is a big setup, but we don't know why there's a 24-hour gimmick yet or any of that. We find that out here finally.
And then, yeah, right here. Oh, 24 hours, that's all? So,
Yeah,
we
like the
see.
line, like, "Oh, stopping two gods from destroying the world in 24 hours."
Yeah, yeah,
Easy.
yeah. And so we see her go back in to the bar, and of course, he the person who was supposed to stay has taken off and ran. And I love this too because he was basically like, you're calling me a wuss and all this. Like, what did you expect me to do? So yeah, she crumbles up the paper. She's like, I'm gonna enjoy taking his soul after all. But there's still zombies all around her too. So who
Yeah,
are
so
these
like
two?
that's the bartender and the waitress. So like I said, they ended up dying. She couldn't claim their soul.
Mm-hmm.
Not the plague, but again, since they're soulless, for some reason their bodies are rising, so they've risen. And she's like, "Oh, now I gotta deal with you two, huh?"
And deal with them she does. Like, holy crap, she, like, Gwynn is like experienced in combat. Like, she is a beast, and this scythe is getting bloodier and bloodier with every swing she is throwing.
Yeah, I like how he did the panels, so they're like kind of wavy, erratic and stuff. That was pretty cool.
So right now we see her apologizing for what's happened to them, and then this, of course, is so awesome too, where she like makes him like put his chin on the scythe, and then she like beheads him, and like so it's not like so graphic. You see it just popping off into the shadow. I love that.
Yeah, I wanted it to look sort of samurai-ish, where it was all shadowy, but Elton made the good call there, where he was like, "Not just the head, because you want to see the visual of Gwynn." I was like, "Yeah, good call."
First things first, though, and that's where we're left off with. So,
yeah, that panel where you see like the sunrise, I
Mm-hmm.
want to incorporate the whole time. Like, I want people through the visuals be able to kind of tell the time. I mentioned it also in the dialogue, but yeah, I want the visuals to match the actual time, so you can see the day going by and stuff.
So, what is it? Like noon? Like, what time is it right now?
It's like 6:30, and well, when she comes back to the bar, she says it's like 6:35. So
Mhm.
it's around that time. Like the sun's just rising. Obviously, the next book is gonna be 7. So yeah.
All right, and then right here, some of the variant covers, I'm assuming.
No, that's actually just pieces I commissioned from fellow artists, just to have like a little thing in the back as
Oh,
extras.
that's cool.
Just see Gwyn and other characters and other people's styles. That's actually done by Brendan Albetsky, who does Marokiri Destroy the Moon. You're gonna interview him pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
know
comic's pretty
you're
awesome.
staying up to date on that. I appreciate that.
Hey, I don't have the title for nothing.
So this is really cool too. This almost looks like a 3D rendering.
Yeah, that was done by Scarlett over on Insta. He's on Twitter too. But yeah, he did 3D renders. I was like, oh, that's cool to see kind of a human Gwyn.
Are we gonna see Gwyn with a freaking wolf?
That's Cusick from issue 1. He'll be back soon enough.
Okay, yeah, totally forgot about that.
Yeah. There's I'm introducing characters who you might not see every issue, but they'll pop in.
And then this scene, so this was the variant of them dancing, right?
That's a different version. The variant's not included in the back of that issue. The variant's the one where they're in the ballroom, yeah. It was either the ballroom scene or that one, but I kind of felt that the ballroom one was a bit better of a cover, and that would be cool as like the last little page,
So right here,
that was done by Elton.
Get a little breakdown of Edwin. Edwin is a writer who was born in New York and currently is living in Miami. Okay, Edwin. He always had dreams of being a writer and is finally getting to achieve those dreams. When not writing, Edwin can be found partaking in other loves like music, gaming, watching movies, TV shows, taking his dog out, or spending time with his friends and family. Of course, right here is all of his respective social media platforms. We have all of those linked in the description below as well. And then a special thanks. So I seen right here is Keeping It Geekly. I was like, hell yeah, boy.
Hell yeah, Keeping It Geekly, bro. You be supporting everybody. I'm sure your name's like in every book.
I'd like to think so. So what are we getting right here? What is this? What's to expect next?
No, it's just a synopsis of the book. For like one day where we're on the shelf and people can actually read or grab it and read the back, or at cons.
Okay, so this is the back cover.
I tell people, yeah. At cons, I talk and tell them about what the story is. But like when like 3 or 4 people reach the table, I'm sometimes like, oh yeah, you can read the back to find out what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to our double camera right here. So after taking a look at hour 1, what are we looking forward to with hour 2? What's next for you?
Hour 2, well, you read the script, bro. You got the sneak peek. All I can say is the action is definitely gonna go even harder. We're gonna see the introduction of Sienna and Sancho. They're gonna be pretty cool. Gwynn is without spoiling too much, Gwynn had some action in this first issue against zombies. Let's just say Gwynn is gonna fight something that's not a zombie in issue 3.
Okay.
I think issue 1 and 2 are amazing. I think issue 3 is gonna be the one to really suck people in.
All right, let's go. And are you working on any other projects or any other like anthologies or any other thing like outside of Lost Between Worlds?
Nah, man, my whole focus is on Lost Between Worlds. I've just been kind of trying to build the brand. I got shirts now. Hold on. We got this one, and then the title logo with just the green font. There's that design too. People are gonna get them as stickers. You can find that at TeePublic. Besides that, I've been working on a motion comic for issue 1. I've got almost all the voices recorded. I just need like 3 more characters. But yeah.
Ooh, let me know if you need a voice acting. I got you.
Hey, you keeping a geekly cameo for sure, bro. But yeah, just been working on that and just trying to promote the brand and do what I can. I feel like Lost Between Worlds can be a really big thing. I got a lot of things planned. I'm not saying we're gonna be the next One Piece, Bleach, Naruto, or any of that, but I think the world is so expansive and there's such a big ensemble of a cast that I'm building that I think we can be big. And
yeah, dude,
once the franchise is over, I definitely want to do more things. I have ideas, but I really want to just focus on this one series for now and just make it big.
Oh, absolutely. Guardian Andrew over on YouTube stopped in and say, let's go, and hell yeah. Welcome to the stream, Guardian. How are you doing? Edwin, man, this has been such an awesome interview. It's always a pleasure getting you on. I need to get you back on for hour 2. We need to make this the thing where we do each hour. Like, that'd be so cool.
I would be down, bro. You know it.
Dude,
I always gotta keep defending my title.
I love it. Hit us with the title again. It's such a good. I need to. We're gonna make this a thing. I need to make a belt.
Bro, it's the Keeping It Geekly title. Like, just put the belt, put like your Catman logo on it or whatever. Have the side plate say Keeping It Geekly. And yeah, I'll rep that. I still have that photo you photoshopped of me. I was about to post that earlier. I think I am gonna post it, if anything, and just be like, just defended the title. Come at me.
Let's go. Well, guys, it is time for us to wrap things up. This has been an awesome time. Edwin, it's always a pleasure to get you on. I hope everyone is having a fantastic Monday. For everyone that is watching, here is where you could read Hour Zero for free. So Hour Zero is basically, do you consider that like the prelude to this, or?
Yeah, it's like the prologue. I mean, it definitely is the start of the story, but it's the prologue to the whole 24-hour gimmick.
No, I got you. Hell yeah, man. This is awesome. Edwin, thank you so much for coming on, breaking this down. I always love getting a chance to read the comic and then get what you actually intended and your thoughts behind it. I think that it always makes for such an awesome time breaking down an awesome book with its creator. But it is time for me to wrap things up. I do have to finish the rest of the night off with my kids watching some movies that we picked out at the start earlier, so I'm excited for that. I'm sure you have to do the dad biz too, being a brand new father.
Yeah, she's like crying in the room. Mom's pulling the duties right now, but I can hear her crying.
Dude, getting ready, dude. Flawless, what is it? Fatality? Flawless victory.
Victory? Yeah.
Dude, it's been years. I'm sure how long it's been since I played Mortal Kombat, huh?
Bro, and shame on you because you're just as old as me.
But yeah, guys, with that being said, we are going to be wrapping it up. I hope you had a fantastic Monday night, but most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.